series of votes, which is why I was away. But I just wanted to give you one tip in terms of shaping policy towards the BBC. There's clearly some momentum about reforming the complaints process. And I just wanted to comment on two things. In terms of Sky News and the other broadcasters, I don't get complaints. I think in the last 5.5 years, I can remember 1 or 2 complaints about Sky. Lots more about the BBC. So we don't seem to have the problem with Sky and ITN. But I'm not a great fan of the BBC, but I do think it's there for reform rather than abolition. But I would also say if you do, I had this conversation with the Foreign Office Minister about the Foreign Office bias against Israel. And the difficulty, and this was a minister who was predisposed in favour of Israel, but the postbag was 10-1. When something blew up, it was 10-1 against Israel, and that shapes a minister's response. And so for a long time I'd been arguing, if you are complaining, then you have to put pen to paper. But if you are writing to the BBC, then copy in, John Whittingdale will not love me for saying this, but copy in the Secretary of State at DCMS. Because once the government departments start to have their desk weighed down with complaints, that shapes public policy. The BBC might be independent. I tried to, in fact, when Sharon first raised this issue with me, probably about 18 months, 2 years ago, I tried to get a debate on the BBC bias. And I was firmly told, you can't have one because it doesn't report to Parliament. And therefore I couldn't call the debate. So there's a way of bringing the BBC to heel. But the biggest way is to shape public policy by copying in the relevant ministers. Once they have a weight of letters on their desk, they will start to say what's going on. But my job tonight was really meant to host, but unfortunately Sharon's had to step in. But I have listened to a lot of what Baroness Deitch and Haydar said.